sure there's a homeless shelter nearby?
I am not homeless.
Next on Ebert Roeper, Reese Witherspoon and Mark Ruffalo in Just Like Heaven.
What is wrong with you?
Elijah Wood in Everything Is Illuminated.
Gwyneth Paltrow and Anthony Hopkins in Food.
Plus, a new version of a teen classic from one of our greatest directors in the Thumbs Up video segment.
You have two realities to choose from. First one being that a woman has come into your life in a very unconventional way, and she happens to need your assistance. Right. The second one is that you're an insane person, and you're sitting on a park bench right now talking to yourself.
I think I prefer the first one.
Reese Witherspoon and Mark Ruffalo try to come to terms with their very complicated relationship in Just Like Heaven. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. We start with Just Like Heaven, and I know some people are going to hate this romantic comedy because it's so blatantly sentimental that it makes Sleepless in Seattle look like 9.5 weeks. But you know what? It got to me. Mark Ruffalo plays David, a young widower who has just moved into the apartment formerly and currently occupied by Witherspoon's Elizabeth, who was recently in a terrible car crash but doesn't remember it or anything else.
I live here.
Okay, you can't live here because I live here. This is my apartment.
Since when?
Since I rented it.
You rented it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I don't need this.
John Heder puts a psychic twist on his Napoleon Dynamite character as Daryl. Like the rest of the world except for David, Daryl can't actually see Elizabeth, but he does believe she's there.
I know something's different. Something is not right. I'm walking through walls here.
Okay, you know, I don't think I can help you. This is one of the most alive spirits I've ever been around. She's not going anywhere.
What do you mean?
I agree with her, dude. She's not dead.
Even though Elizabeth is caught between worlds, she and David actually have a fairly conventional movie courtship, starting with mutual loathing that develops into familiar friendship and, of course, then explodes into love.
In fact, I'm sensing some pretty intense feelings she has for you, bro.
Really?
No, I don't.
Ooh, major red aura. Somebody's embarrassed.
This is mainly a lightweight comedy with two enormously likable leads and a giant romantic heart. It's corny, it's somewhat predictable, but it's also very sweet, it's funny, and it's just good enough for me to say thumbs up.
Thumbs up for me, too. You know, Ruffalo and Witherspoon are two of the nicest, sweetest people in the movies, or at least they can be.
So they have a
Here-
real regular charm.
Here, they really do. They really sell it. And, of course, the metaphysics in the movie are a little bit strange to figure out all of the implications and everything, but there are great scenes. For example, the scene where he saves the life of that guy who passes out on the floor, and she says, quick, call for a paring knife and a bottle of vodka. And he does the emergency surgery. I like scenes like that.
I did
and I
too.
like
I
the
did
whole
too.
deal that nobody can see her except for her 4-year-old niece.
Yeah,
and she says,
that's a
great,
nice scene,
great.
too.
She says, my life is in the hands of a 4-year-old who already has 7 other imaginary friends.
Very good line. And, you know, there's a certain acting challenge here, Roger, not just for Ruffalo and Witherspoon, but I always like these movies where the character, of course, we can see Reese Witherspoon, but the other actors can't, and they have to play off Ruffalo as if he's crazy and react to him looking at her, and everybody strikes just the right notes. There's some nice supporting performances as well.
It's fun, it's sweet, it's upbeat, it's romantic.
We could use a movie like that.
We could use
once
a
in
movie
while.
like that. Okay, the next movie is not any of those things.
No, it is not.
It is very good, though. Our next movie is the sort of film that takes real courage to make. It's named Keane, and it stars Damian Lewis as a schizophrenic man who has periods when he's calm and reasons well, and other periods when he walks raving in the streets. In the movie's opening scenes, he is convinced that his daughter has been abducted, and he searches obsessively for her between bouts of drinking, cocaine, and sex.
I bought some tickets from you last September. On the 12th. Clifton. I was with my daughter. She was abducted downstairs on the lower level.
In a transient hotel, Keane meets a woman and her young daughter. He seems to her to be trustworthy, and the woman trusts him to pick up the girl after school and bring her home. Then the mother disappears for 2 days, desperately trying to track down her missing husband. Keane, this disturbed man, is left in full charge of the girl.
What are you looking at? Don't look at me! Don't look at me!
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
The suspense here is very real. How long will Keane's period of functional reality persist? Will he start to think this girl is really his own lost daughter?
Try to sleep. I'm sitting right here beside you, okay? Shh.
Keane is aware of the danger of the situation and struggles to keep his illness under control. He desperately wants to keep this girl safe and just as desperately fears the consequences if he is discovered with her, given his history. Keane was written and directed by an extraordinary American filmmaker named Lodge Kerrigan, whose previous two films were Clean Shaven and Claire Dolan. They also deal with characters trying to survive in the shadow of insanity. Keane is built on a powerful performance by Damian Lewis, who played the abusive husband in An Unfinished Life, also in theaters right now. Here, he generates enormous sympathy as he helplessly tries to do the right thing. Thumbs up.
Well, thumbs up for me as well, Roger. You seem to have a very clear grasp on what happens in this film, and I'm not sure that I do. I'm not sure I know what his reality is and whether or not he even had a daughter or if that's all his imagination. I mean, it's very confusing because it really brings us into this man's madness.
He's obsessed with looking for his daughter, but I don't know if he had one.
You don't know if he had a daughter or not. Okay, good, because I thought I was the only one who got lost.
He's just obsessed
But that's, I think that's the effect of this film, and amazing camera work in this movie, because we feel, from our point of view, I mean, we're on this guy's shoulder, especially for the first 40 minutes or so, where we have no idea where the story is going, and every turn he makes, and the camera work doesn't draw attention to itself, though. It's just very well done, and it brings us right into this man's madness.
This movie doesn't exploit the situation. Oh, here's a schizophrenic who's in charge of this little girl. It's more as if Lodge Kerrigan has a real sympathy with mental illness. And the guy has moments when he can kind of see clearly, and he's a good person.
He wants to be.
He's
he
sick,
really wants to
but
be.
he doesn't want to harm this girl, and so there's real human suspense.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece of work. You know, one of the great things about this show, I know you get tons of email from viewers, and I do as well. It's great to hear from viewers after they've seen movies like this that could be interpreted different ways. I can't wait to hear from people what they think actually happened to Keane and what Keane's all about.
Right.
Okay, our next movie, time for another whiplash segue. This is Dirty Love, and I gotta say, you have to give Jenny McCarthy points for flat-out fearlessness. She may not have Lucille Ball's talent, but she will throw herself out there in a way that makes Lucy's persona seem shy and refined. McCarthy penned the screenplay for Dirty Love. It's not a very good movie at all, but there was something fascinating about watching her demean herself in myriad ways, all in the name of getting a laugh. Jenny plays Rebecca, who's reeling after she was dumped by her idiot himbo of a boyfriend.
I'll have the I just got dumped Sunday.
I don't think that's on the menu, dear.
Then make me the best Sunday you could possibly imagine that would take away every painful experience that any man ever did you wrong.
They may have to invent a whole new category in the Razzies for Carmen Electra's jaw-droppingly awful performance as Rebecca's best friend.
Is there, someplace, cool that you recommend?
You know, I was thinking maybe you could take it to the Tantra Grill around 8 o'clock. Don't be late, because I'll beat your ass.
Dirty Love is directed with zero style by John Asher, McCarthy's now estranged husband. The lowlights are many. Dirty Love is one of the worst movies of the year, but it's terrible in kind of a more interesting way than lazy, forgettable junk such as The Dukes of Hazzard and The Underclassmen. I do think that someday Jenny McCarthy could actually pull off a compelling performance if somebody like Tarantino or the Farrelly brothers created the right role for her. This ain't that movie.
You may be right because she is fearless. As I was looking at this movie and saw her in the middle of a supermarket, seated in an enormous lake of menstrual blood, I was wondering exactly who thought that was funny. And then I realized she wrote the movie and her husband directed it. She needs to find herself a new screenwriter and a new director. This movie is pathetic. And watching it, it was like watching a train crash. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. The performances are awful. The dialogue is unbelievably awkward. Just the competence of the movie is in question many times. And yet, she's out there. You're right about that. She's out there. But she's out there, and she needs somebody to be out there with her who knows what they're doing.
Who could be her friend, yes. Okay, coming up, Nicolas Cage stars in Lord of War.
Read Richard Roeper at Suntimes.com and Roger Ebert at RogerEbert.com.
There are two movies in theaters right now that got 2 thumbs up on previous shows. First, Proof, with Gwyneth Paltrow as the daughter of a genius math professor played by Anthony Hopkins.
Crazy people don't sit around wondering if they're nuts.
They don't?
Of course not. They've got better things to do. Take it from me. A very good sign that you're crazy is an inability to ask the question, Am I crazy?
And Lord of War with yet another memorable performance from Nicolas Cage as an arms dealer who rationalizes every illegal step he takes.
I even shipped cargo to Afghanistan when they were fighting my fellow Soviets. I never sold to Osama bin Laden, not on any moral grounds. Back then, he was always bouncing checks.
Two very different films, both highly recommended.
Yeah, you know, this is the period after Labor Day that we wait for all the way through August, because finally it's good movie season again. You see these films and you realize, hey, movies can be smart, they can be entertaining, they can be challenging, they don't have to be stupid.
Absolutely.
Our next movie, named Thumbsucker, is an example of a movie like that. It's about a teenage boy and his family who all have problems. Thumbsucker is not exactly a comedy, not exactly a tragedy either. It's the story of an intelligent, disturbed family trying to cope with a troubled son. Lou Taylor Pucci won an award at Sundance this year for his performance in the title role as Justin, who still sucks his thumb. He goes not to a psychiatrist, but to an orthodontist, played by Keanu Reeves, who tries his own approach.
Are you ready to let go of your thumb?
Why are you talking like that?
Answer my question.
What are you gonna do?
I want to try hypnosis.
Hypnosis doesn't work so well, so Justin is eventually put on Ritalin. That makes the kid take a dramatic U-turn, changing from a loner to a frantic overachiever. Vince Vaughn plays the coach of his school debate team.
Nervous?
Something.
Completely understandable. This isn't a classroom situation, and that's a whole other new thing for you to process. I wish I was bald. Bitch.
Your hair seems fine.
Okay, now you're making it worse.
Justin's family includes Tilda Swinton as Audrey, his mother, who hopes to win a date with a star through a cereal box contest, and Vincent D'Onofrio as his father, Mike. Everything centers on that wonderful performance by Lou Taylor Pucci as Justin. I like the way he decides that the solution to his problem may be worse than the problem, and that being well-adjusted may simply mean adjusting to the way you really are.
Yeah, thumbs up for me as well, Roger. You know, we reviewed a movie called Pretty Persuasion recently, which covers a lot of the same territory, teens and teachers and parents and middle-class angst and all that. But that film felt so smug and condescending, and it didn't seem to care about its characters. And this film, as you say, avoids all those pitfalls. The parents are interesting characters. D'Onofrio, great performance. And I like Vince Vaughn's work in this movie as the teacher. We talk a lot about the Vince Vaughn character that he plays in a lot of comedies and stuff. He's playing a different role here, and I thought it was a really strong performance.
You know, I always liked Tilda Swinton, too. She's from Scotland, and she plays this American housewife, and she's going to enter the contest and get the date with the star. And yet she's not just a ditz.
No.
She's very complicated, too. And the whole movie is about interesting people who are interacting instead of being given their roles like child, parent, and then just playing out the usual steps that they take.
And, of course, this Pucci kid, a very, very strong performance. He's going to be doing a lot of good work for years to come.
Coming up later in the show, Elijah Wood stars in Everything Is Illuminated. And next, a Francis Ford Coppola classic in our Thumbs Up video segment.
What are you doing? You're gonna get arrested.
New on video this week, Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon in Fever Pitch, which got 2 thumbs way up on this show. Joaquin Phoenix and Claire Danes in It's All About Love, which got 2 thumbs down. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which also got 2 thumbs way down. My video choice this week is a wonderful film you may not have heard about. Over the Edge, a 1979 film, is finally new on DVD. It's not only an uncommonly sensitive film about troubled teenagers, but also marks the film debut of Matt Dillon, who was 15 when he played one of a group of high school students who feel marooned and ignored in their Colorado suburb.
I'm gonna blow you away, Tip.
Hey, that's not real.
You've never seen anything so real.
Now, follow this. Over the Edge was co-written by Tim Hunter, who went on in 1982 to write and direct Tex, another unusually good story of a good kid in a bad situation. And Tex, which also starred Matt Dillon, was based on a novel by S.E. Hinton, who also wrote 2 other books that were turned into movies starring Matt Dillon. And they were Rumblefish and The Outsiders.
Well, thank you so much for that setup, my friend. My video pick this week is indeed Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders, the complete novel, they're calling it. It has 22 minutes of additional footage and a new soundtrack that includes 6 songs by Elvis Presley. The adaptation of S.E. Hinton's teen classic is violent and tragic, but also dreamy and sentimental, like a girl's diary. And of course, the cast is like a minor league farm team of future all-stars. You got Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, Diane Lane, the aforementioned Mr. Matt Dillon, and Tom Cruise pre-dental work.
Thinking, how about you and Sylvia coming over to the game with us tomorrow night? I want to go. Oh, we're taking Evie and Sandy, which means no kids allowed. Big deal.
The second disc has some of the best extras of any DVD this year, including commentary from the stars, scenes of casting of the film, including some familiar faces who didn't make the cut, a look back at the making of the film, and some of the stars today reading from Hinton's timeless book. And you know, Roger, I also have to mention Born into Brothels, last year's Academy Award winner for Best Documentary. You cannot watch this film and not be moved by it. That's also new on DVD.
Over the Edge, The Outsiders, and Born into Brothels will all be in stores on Tuesday.
I'm not a writer. I mean, I write, but more of a collector, really.
And what do you collect?
Things. Family things.
Elijah Wood is a strange little man who dresses like a junior G-man and journeys to the Ukraine in search of family secrets in Everything is Illuminated. Actor Liev Schreiber wrote the screenplay. It's based on Jonathan Safran Foer's best-selling novel. Okay. Schreiber also makes his directorial debut, and he shows a fine touch for blending absurdist comedy with some deeply serious revelations tied to the Holocaust. Wood plays a fictionalized, I guess, Jonathan Foer, a collectaholic who saves just about everything imaginable in Ziploc bags. After Jonathan's grandmother dies, he flies to the Ukraine in hopes of finding the obscure village where a mysterious woman saved his grandfather's life years and years ago. He hooks up with maybe the world's most incompetent tour guides and their insane seeing-eye dog.
You my translator?
Yes, I'm Alexander Perchel. I'll be your humble translator. I implore you to forgive my speaking of English, Jonathan, as I'm not so premium with it.
That's the European punk rocker Eugene Hutt, sounding kind of like a cousin of the old Wild and Crazy Guys played by Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live. I'd say the first two-thirds or so of Everything is Illuminated is almost a pure ironic comedy, but the story takes a hard turn into Holocaust drama in that last act. As a comedy, Everything is Illuminated is kind of hit and miss, but as a whimsical and at times very poignant look at family secrets and family ties, it's effective, it's moving, thumbs up.
Marginal thumbs up for me. You know, Liev Schreiber is a guy who takes chances. I remember him as Laertes in that Ethan Hawke Hamlet, and he's been a lot of other. As a director who began as an actor here, he has a real idea about what kind of movie he wants to make. He's not just taking the credit because he thinks it would be fun. He has a look and a feel and a mood to this film that is interesting. If I could change one thing about the film, it would not be the dog. Okay. It would be the glasses. Those big glasses that he wears, little and older, are so distracting and such an affectation that it kept getting between me and Elijah Wood.
I gotta say, you are absolutely right. I knew there was something a little bit off-putting about the performance, and maybe it's not the performance, it's just the wardrobe. You don't need that when you have such good source material and such talented actors. You don't need, hey, let's wear these glasses that just draw attention to themselves. It's funny, but it's true.
They were a little bit over the top, but apart from that, I mean, in general, yes, it is a good film.
Okay, we'll be back to recap this week's show right after this.
I'm ignoring you.
I'm ignoring you.
She won't accept that she's dead.
Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show. 2 thumbs up for Just Like Heaven. 2 thumbs up for Keane. 2 thumbs way down for Dirty Love. How far down can a thumb go? I'm sure Jenny McCarthy would know.
Yeah, I suppose Jenny would.
Whoa. 2 thumbs way up for Proof, opening this week in New York and L.A. 2 thumbs way up for Lord of War. And 2 thumbs up for Thumbsucker. And also 2 thumbs up for Everything is Illuminated.
What can I tell you? 2 weeks in a row, you're just right on the money. We're agreeing.
Now, perhaps you could look at it that way.
I have to look at it that way. Okay, we'll be back with our picks for the movies to see in theaters this weekend.
Now let's talk about a couple of movies that are in theaters right now. They've already opened. One would be Green Street Hooligans, starring Elijah Wood as a Harvard student who's a very peaceful guy until he goes to London and gets involved with a club of football supporters who basically get into a riot every weekend, and he becomes addicted to violence. It's a fascinating movie.
It's a good movie that tells us about something that most American sports fans really don't know that much about. Another movie that got 2 thumbs up on the show, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's about this girl who was either possessed by the devil or sick. Either way, she died. The priest is actually charged with neglect in her death, and it works as, I think, as a supernatural thriller and as a courtroom drama.
Also a courtroom drama, right. And next week, we'll be back with the reviews of Jodie Foster and Flight Plan. Until then, the balcony is closed.
Messes seem smaller with the Libman Wonder Mop. Large and absorbent, quick-drying strips. And thanks to the unique wringer sleeve, your hands never touch water. Libman, family made since 1896.
Get up to 4 great home equity offers. Faster than some bankers answer the phone.
Please continue to hold.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Those great old barbershop shaves are back. Conair's Hot Lather Machine and now Hot Gel Cap makes soft, soothing hot lather out of your favorite shaving cream or gel.
Why did your last diet fail?
Stress raises cortisol. Cortisol increases belly fat. Relicor helps reduce cortisol. You need Relicor.
Call now. It's guaranteed.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Come into Meineke for new brake pads or shoes. Now only $29.95.
Meineke Car Care Center. Right service, right price.